you everybody for coming. I'm really excited to share this with everyone. And I usually do a lot of talking, so I don't want to talk as much today. So I just want to go into a little bit about how I started doing these movements and the purpose of it. And everybody is in such great shape, so I know everybody's gonna get it right away. And you guys are doing a lot of this already. So I had a bodybuilding background. It was all about aesthetics for me before when it comes to health and things like that. And I coached a lot of people when it comes to how to build muscle and how to burn fat. And about 4 years ago, I experienced an awakening in my Kundalini, and everything opened up. And then I realized that there was more to life than, you know, I think of that line. You guys ever watched Zoolander? Yeah. He's like,
you mean there's more to life than being really ridiculously good looking?
and I always remember that line because it's like, oh man. And it's like, but that's what happens. Like, oh yeah, you know, there's actually like feelings. And I was not connected to feelings. That was like such a struggle, you know. And so I decided, I was like, you know, I'm gonna stop bodybuilding. I'm gonna stop going to gym. And I'm gonna figure out how to figure out this feeling thing, how to feel good, because it was very foreign to me. It sounds strange when I say it out loud and I hear myself saying it, but yet I never registered in my mind that feeling good had to do with like energy in the body or vibrations in the body or literally sitting there and feeling it. It just didn't recur to me. So I started to learn more about yoga. At the time, I was practicing yoga for about 2.5 years, but very, very low level. I would do some really, you know, simple asanas. My meditation would be about 5 minutes, where maybe 20 seconds I had a little bit of thought, and the other 4 minutes and 40 seconds was like racing thoughts. You know, 1 minute felt like 5 minutes felt like 30. And I remember sitting there and thinking, oh my God, my timer must be broken again. And I remember by the time I always check it and I realize it's never broken and it's just in my head thinking it's broken, I'm like, number one, never check the timer. And actually there was this time to where the volume was turned off, and so it didn't run over. But besides that, it never broke, you know? It was just, I was sitting there thinking it was that long. And so that's how my mind was. And so I started to do some yoga. I started to learn about breath work. I started to dive into learning about how our mind and body works. And my practices were really long, and I had the time because I told the company that I was with that I'm gonna go and we're gonna figure out how to separate, and I'm gonna start diving into what has happened to me, because that is like the essence of life. And so since then, I started to do these practices, and I found that so many different practices help with moving the energy and help with feeling good and increasing the vibrational frequency. But the problem with that was I couldn't find something that was, number one, really fast. Like, I would do asanas and things like that, and it would take me a little while for my body to kind of relax when I would get tense. And I would do breath work, but I felt like I would have to do really intense breath work. And maybe it was just my body, maybe I held it to so much tension from all these years of like lifting that it took that much. And I found that there's gotta be something else that can be fast, but that can also produce the same results. And I knew that it was out there because, you know, I'm able to do it in 3 hours, you know, I could feel good in 3 hours, but there's gotta be something more. So I just started playing around with it. And I started experimenting. I remember there would be times where I'd do really intense breath work and I would topple over every time. Like I would just spin and fall over, and I'm like, whoa, that was really intense, you know, let me see how I feel. And then my mind would be totally like reset. I opened my eyes like I just went through maybe, you know, like 15-20 minutes of meditation, but it was like 1 minute. You know, it's just like really intense. I'm like, okay, well, I think I'm getting somewhere with this, but I don't think it's safe to always hit the ground every time feeling like I'm so dizzy. It was a real thing. And so over the years, I started figuring out there's some things that fits really well for me, and then there's some things that just isn't really safe, or it's just kind of, it feels off. And I wanted to find a way that works good for me so I can do it consistently every day, but also I can show other people how to do it. And the most important thing is, while I didn't bodybuild anymore, but I still wanted to have a good body, I still wanted to feel strong. And I found that that in order for practices like yoga to really get to that point to where somebody can have really good aesthetics, they gotta be really skillful. Like I see people, they're holding these handstands, doing all these cool poses, and they look strong, they're pretty muscular. But man, I think, I'm not able to do it, but I assume that it takes a little while to get to that skill set, to be able to do these really awesome moves. And also, you know, holding these moves is one thing, but building a lot of muscle to where aesthetically somebody looks the way they want to look, like they would happen if they go to the gym, I'm like, I don't think that can just happen with these moves. There's got to be more. So I wanted to combine bodybuilding or turning a good physique, creating a good physique, while at the same time doing practices that increase the level of frequency. Because I know people want both. People want to feel good and have a good state of mind, but they also want to aesthetically look good. And that's why the gym industry is so popular and everybody's in there. But I know every single person in there, they also want to be happy. They want to also have these positive emotions. And so I started to do practices that would allow me to build muscle, that allow me to have a decent physique and muscular build, but at the same time, be left with this feeling that I get when I do meditation and when I do yoga. And so the practice I'm going to show you today is a really simple practice. I was at Andrew's about a week ago, and I showed him a lot of the stuff. It was a little group there, and you'll see they're really, really easy, and they're nothing fancy because I wanted to make sure that it can be learned really quickly and that everybody can do it, and that somebody doesn't have to be a very advanced yogi or a very really good movement artists like a lot of you guys. You know, you guys can move, you're really healthy and strong, but there's so many people out there that aren't. And I want them to be able to have something that they can do so they don't have to depend on going to so many classes, which we all know it's difficult to go to a class every day. It really is. And hiring a personal trainer is not in everybody's budget or schedules. And a lot of people find that they're not able to get in shape, or they're not able to change their emotions and their energy. But the reality is they can, but they don't know how. And whatever they think on how to do it is very difficult. And that's my main intention, is to find something that is so simple that everybody can do, no matter what type of skill level or experience that they have in exercise or taking care of their body. But at the same time, it's effective enough for people like you guys to still be able to benefit and still feel like I'm not just doing nothing, like this is too easy. Like it won't be that easy, so it can work on all ranges.
One thing I would love for you to share, because I was with Andrew at your place, and the thing that drew to me the most was the opposite of what we've been taught, which is time and attention, and you talk about relaxing, releasing. So I feel like it's a huge part of what we have created, is that you're releasing so much energy, you're creating, how would you say it, like less tension in your body. You're actually not only moving the energy out, but sort of like, whoa, this is Qi Gong and breath work and everything combined, and energy releasing, which is so fast and powerful, but it's opposite of let's be structural and just do this. And so for me, it really appealed to be like, oh, I can travel the globe and never use a gym, and I'm combining all these elements, but that was a big key for me of seeing that. So I'd love you to maybe share
Thank you.
Of that.
Thanks for reminding me. So a big part of the way I train now is when we bodybuild and we build muscle, we create tension in our body, and our bodies look really good, really tight and really strong. The problem with the tension is energy gets stuck, and energy doesn't flow well when our body's really dense, so our bodies need to be really relaxed in order for energy to flow. But the problem with really relaxed is you can't really build a lot of muscle if you're really relaxed all the time, you know? And so it's like this contradiction. So then I found that a perfect logical solution is, why don't somebody just go and bodybuild and build this muscle, and then afterwards they do yoga, and then they stretch, and then now they're really relaxed, you know, and they'll go to a hot sauna or something like that, and they can relax, and that would work out. But here's the issue with that. People don't have the time. You spend 45 minutes in the gym working out, you spend another 45 minutes to an hour stretching and doing all the stuff, and it takes over 2 hours, if not longer, you know, but then you haven't even included meditation, you haven't included any breath work, so you include everything, and then you're like the practice that I was doing, where it was like 3 hours, and people just don't have the time nowadays to do it. So now what I do is, I thought, well, if I can go ahead and find exercises that take the minimum amount of time to build muscular structure in the body, make the body strong, make the body athletic and lean, so this way you can burn the fat, build the muscle, but then at the same time do practices that make the body loose, that gets rid of the tension in the body. Then now we have the best of all the worlds. You know, we can make the body strong and make it look good, and we can make the body loose, flexible, energetic, so this way frequency, high frequency can be maintained in the body, which then would elevate the consciousness and create these positive emotions. So now the practice that I'm doing is a combination of both. There's really 4 sections to it. And the first section is what we call light and loose. And it's really just a lot of shaking, a lot of energetic grounding, you know, a lot of moving the body around. So this way the body feels really, really loose. It's a perfect warm-up. And people, when they see this, they will go, well, I've seen this in this practice or that practice. People that do martial arts, they go, wow, this is part of our warm-up. We do that and we do that because it warms up all of the parts of the body. Particularly when I look at the body, when we take out the aesthetic part of it and we look at it as health, we think of the body capability of movement. We think of all the joints being able to function well. We also think about the strength of the body, not how much we can lift, but the strength and how much the body can handle as far as like touch goes. Because this is a really big thing that just really, it puzzled me because I was so strong in the gym, but my body was so weak, like to touch. I remember laying on the ground or not being able to sit on the ground like this because my bones would hurt. And I think like, I'm such a man in the gym throwing hundreds of pounds and I can't sit on the ground without pain. Like, something is wrong with this, you know? And I realized I wasn't the only one. Our joints have become so weak to where it's not able to touch the ground without pain. The muscles were the same thing. And I don't think you guys are experiencing a lot of this, you know, but there are a lot of people that can't sit on the ground, it's just too hard. And I think about this and I realize that that is something that should be helped among people in general. People should be able to sit on the ground, they should be able to roll around a little bit and not feel like, ow, my body is hurting, because that shows that there's so much pain trapped in the body that isn't released. And if we look into massage, you know, there's a lot of different massages that can release the stress and release the tension and release the pain from the body. And as we know, there's emotions, all the stuff trapped in it, but then they can't do it often enough and it gets reaccumulated. So how do we figure out a way for people to be able to make their bodies strong, to make their bodies loose, to make their bodies pain-free, so that this way they don't hold on to negative emotions, but do it to where they're able to do it as often as possible. And because of the modern world that we live in every day, stress from demands, from all this stuff, we are accumulating it just as fast as we're getting rid of it. And until somebody totally changes their life around and creates this ecosphere, this environment of loving people, loving work, loving food, loving space, loving energy, and all this stuff, until that really happens, it's like a race of trying to get rid of bad stuff as bad stuff is coming in from all angles of life. And so there are some people, you know, that has created this environment. And for them, it's like I can kind of relax and I don't feel like stress is just pouring on me every day. But there's so many people out there that this is still happening. And it takes a little while to transition somebody's entire life to be like that. And until that happens, they need to find an easy practice to be able to do these different things for their body and ultimately for their mind. Because the mind and the body is just the feedback. You know, one thing I share with people is when people think of their mind, they point to their brain. But then they think of their body, they go, well, yeah, this is the body, but this is the mind. I go, no, you're pointing also to your body. You know, this is also the body, this is the body, this is the body, it's all the body. And so if we want to make our mind think better, we need to look at it as our body is reflecting however our mind is. So if the mind is racing with thoughts, then the energy is also racing. If the mind is not able to relax, then the body is not able to relax. If the mind is really agitated, the body is feeling really agitated. So while there are ways to go ahead and change somebody's mindset simply by just with thinking and looking at different new principles and all these things, when the mind is the issue that's creating a lot of the peckering and the non-stop chattering, it's really difficult to use that same vehicle to also change itself. but there's another aspect, which is the body. And so what I'm showing people is, if you change the feeling in your body and you make your body feel good, then that feeling would create the positive thoughts that somebody wants. That positive feeling would create the positive outlook in somebody's life. And so both of them has their challenges. The mind is, you're dealing with the mind that is constantly chattering, and trying to use that vehicle to create itself and recreate itself. And the body part is, you have to go ahead and motivate yourself to move your body. Because if you don't move your body, if you don't do the things with your body, you can't change the actual feeling in the body, and nothing is going to change the mind. So there's still an obstacle there. In my opinion though, I feel that it is simpler to move the body than it is to go ahead and get the mind to reprogram itself. Especially because when we look at our mind, so much part of our mind is from the subconscious mind. It's 90 to 95% is subconscious, and subconscious is our body. So if we are trying to use the conscious part of it, that 5 to 10% of it, we're using a little bit of the mind to try to change the rest of it. Why don't we reprogram the 90 to 95% of it, which is the actual body, and then let that part take care of the 5%, the conscious part that we are aware of every day. So these are all different things that I look at, and I am constantly focusing on when I'm looking at this practice. And this practice is always evolving. It evolved just a little bit just since a week ago. I would add little things or take out little things, because I believe that what I know up to this point, I'm always going to do my best to create the simplest, most effective thing. But I'm always learning, and what I know right now is not going to be as much as what I'm going to know in a year or 2 years from now. So I'm always going to constantly make it better and better, and try to change up different things and make it more effective. So what I'm going to show with you guys today is what I found to be the most effective up to this point. And I know at some point I will learn things from people, and I would add it in there and find different ways for it to evolve. And I just want to say that. So, and I'm also, I'm excited to share it with you guys, because I know you guys are movers, you guys are doing yoga, you guys have awesome practices that you do. This is why you guys are so healthy and strong and vibrant. So I love the feedback from whatever you guys have. Things that you like, things that you think would be really good to add in, or why are we doing it this way? It's an open book. I'm always learning from everybody. I try to learn from wherever I can, and I just see whatever works for me or whatever works, and I just apply it and try to create the best out of it.